Control 4 Cent has joined the meeting.
Hey, Daniele, how are you?
What's going on, Ellie? How you doing?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. How was the weekend? How was yesterday?
I'm doing okay, man. Everything's all right. Nothing. Can't complain too much, I suppose. Enjoyed watching football over the weekend.
Oh,
Things good on
nice.
your end?
Oh, things are pretty good. I enjoyed the Jays, um and I'm looking forward to the NHL season starting up as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's approaching very quickly. Next week
Absolutely.
camps, and we'll see where we end up. I'm very interested to see what happens with Mr. McDavid.
Oh yes, yeah, and also the Connor McDavid stuff. That'll be interesting as well.
No, totally.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be fun.
Yeah, you let me know when we're good, okay?
Sounds good. I'm just about ready here, and we have. I'm gonna just start that in. I'm gonna start in one, two, three. All systems are good.
Recording in progress.
All systems still good.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna just play the intro, and we will jump right in.
Okay.
New intro today.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, new intro. You get to hear the first time.
Oh, first one, hey, debut.
Yes, it's the new intro today. Yes, it's the new intro.
Welcome to the Broadcast Map Show, part of the Broadcast Map Network, the show that covers the world of broadcasting, the Canadian media landscape, sports media, the show's favorite sports teams, as well as news and politics. Here is your host, Ali Musa.
Good afternoon. On Tuesday, September the 9th, 2025. It's great to be back here. It's great to be back. And I am joined here to talk some Blue Jays, and you might even do a little NHL preview with Daniele Franceschi. And of course, if you were listening on the weekend to the Blue Jays broadcast, Daniele, you were also part of that broadcast as well this weekend.
Yes, sir. Ali, thank you for having me as always. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to chat with you. Show and Ali and I we were on over the weekend. Did the Jays Yankees games Saturday, Sunday. We dealt with a rain delay on Saturday. That was about it was an hour and 46 minutes, and so yeah, we navigated that. But always good. I really do enjoy doing the Jays broadcast whenever I get the opportunity to jump in there with show. Pre and post, of course, Jay's talk and interacting with all our fabulous callers and texters. So that's always a lot of fun. I really do enjoy that. It was good. I mean, apart from the Jays losing 2 or 3, dropping both of those games on Saturday, Sunday. Apart from that, it was quite enjoyable.
And yeah, so what did you think of that? Like now, is this sort of like a sign here that perhaps the offense and the bullpen aren't quite up to speed? Because I feel they should have taken at least 2 out of 3 from the Yankees.
Um, it's tough to say. I think it's a good question. It's one that we've posed as well. How much did that series change, or did it impact at all how you feel about this baseball team? From my perspective, I sort of chalk it up, especially from an offensive standpoint. I think it was more of an anomaly than it was maybe the beginning of a trend, at least I think, because all this team has done, apart from that series, if we're just going to look at the body of work, they've been very good hitting with runners in scoring position, delivering the timely hits. And we did see that even on Friday night, right? When they scored 7 runs. So I lean more in that direction where I'm not overly concerned about it. The only real tangible thing I took away from that entire 3 game series, and the one thing that did in fact make me feel differently, it's just in relation to Max Scherzer, because this is now back-to-back starts where he's kind of struggled, and of course we know he's 41 years old. He's up to 16 starts now, I think it is, on the season, or four, excuse me, I think it's 14 starts, 16 homers that he's allowed in that span. So I think now that we've seen him go shorter in back-to-back starts, that is a little bit worrisome because, Ali, I mean, he's a guy that I think internally and even among the fan base, people expect him to be one of the 3 playoff starters once we get to October. And he needs to now reestablish himself again, reassert himself a little bit so you can feel more comfortable with that notion of him being the number 3 guy in the rotation. But apart from that, I'm not going to read too much more into it. It could change this week, though. I will say that. 3 at home against Houston, 3 at home against Baltimore. If they struggle this week, if they go out there against Houston at home and it's some of what we saw, it's the remnants of what we saw against New York, well, then I think that the continuation of those results will be very troubling, and I think the tenor of our conversation will be different. But I'm not ready to get all hot and bothered just yet. I'm willing to give it a little bit more time, take a breath, be patient, and trust that the body of work is going to mean more than what that particular 3 game sample told us.
No, I agree with all that. I agree with that entirely. But I feel, though, is Barrios a concern for you at this point?
Oh yeah. I mean, that goes without saying. I also, the manner in which they have decided to deploy the rotation this week, it's quite interesting to me. Jose Barrios was originally on turn to start today, the opener against the Astros. And instead, as we know, it's going to be Shane Bieber. I think it says more about Shane Bieber than it does about Jose Barrios. Not that there's a lack of trust now with Jose Barrios, but where I have an issue is tomorrow when he takes the ball, Jose Barrios will be pitching on, 7 days rest? And this will come, Ali, on the heels of a start where he already pitched on extended rest prior. It'll be just the second start he's made since August the 23rd. And it'll be September the 10th. So in reshuffling this rotation, reconfiguring it to go back to a 5-man group, to try and get as many starts as possible for Shane Bieber, to keep Kevin Gausman on turn, what they're sacrificing the routine of Jose Barrios. And again, what I think they're signaling sort of by going this route is, well, we envision Bieber, Gausman, Scherzer as the 3 guys that are going to be anchoring the rotation in the playoffs. And therefore, if Shane Bieber wants to start on normal rest, we're going to give him the opportunity to start on normal rest. But there's no escaping what the results would tell us when it comes to Barrios. Since the beginning of July, that's an extended sample. It's 12 starts, Ali, 12 starts. He's got an ERA that is 5.47. He has not been good. And it's been like that for an extended period of time. So I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what it means for his prospects of being on the playoff roster. I don't know what it means for his prospects of if Max Scherzer does have an extended period here the rest of the way where there are hiccups and he doesn't look like the Max Scherzer that was really, really good throughout the bulk of the summer. Does that mean that Barrios has a chance to be one of those, potential 4 starting options for the Blue Jays? I don't know. I really don't know what to make of it. But whenever Barrios takes the ball, and tomorrow we know he is going to be on the mound, clearly there's going to be some added importance, extra attention, more scrutiny, because he needs to perform. He is literally auditioning for the opportunity to be an option in the playoffs in some capacity. That's where we're at with him.
So you feel then? So you're not a fan of the idea then of giving Barrios this extended rest that they've given him?
I just don't see the benefit of it. I think if you're doing it once, when you're going through a full turn through the rotation. Okay, fine. But how is it benefiting that guy in Jose Barrios, who's an established veteran? You know, the one thing you hear, especially when you talk to a lot of former pitchers, and we have the benefit of obviously, people internally, and we have a lot of catchers that work here at Sportsnet, former catchers that are on the broadcast side.
Yeah,
And
Joe
they'll say the same
Siddle.
thing about, right? Joe Siddle, Caleb,
Yes.
Puck, obviously former, like they'll say the same thing to you when it comes to dealing with pitchers. These guys are creatures of habit. They don't like when their routine is disrupted, especially when it is disrupted to the degree that it has been for Jose Barrios. He's had 2 extended layoffs in between his last 2 starts. That plays on you physically, that plays on you psychologically more than anything else, especially when you're struggling. I can only imagine, I would think, Ali, for somebody like Barrios, who has never missed a start in his career, ever, which is remarkable. It's a testament to how durable he is. I would venture to guess, for somebody that is struggling in the manner that he has over the last couple of months, coupled with his level of experience and pedigree, I'm sure he would want to take the ball as soon as humanly possible after every outing, right? He doesn't want to sit there. Why would you want to sit on a bad performance and let it linger? And then you got to throw a bullpen. And then they tell you, oh, you're starting this day while we're starting you this day. We're shuffling the deck again. They've done a really good job communicating with all their pitchers. The staff, from a communication standpoint, that's been a huge upgrade this year in general. I think everybody says that. The players to a man will tell you that. But I'm a little bit skeptical about how this has been managed with Barrios. I get it. The performance hasn't been great. But you still can really benefit from having a confident version of Jose Barrios when you get late into the season and into October. And right now they're running short on time to get him back to that level. So I'm not a fan of it, but they're clearly prioritizing other members of the rotation to kind of grant them the latitude to do what they want. And so in Bieber's case, I would imagine he said, hey, hand up, I would love to start on regular rest. Like, let me get into this groove again. And as a staff, they're saying, okay, we're going to do that because we really need you. And I can't fault them for that. But Jose Barrios, unfortunately, is on the wrong end of this in terms of he's going to suffer the consequences as a result.
Well, there was some speculation that maybe he's battling something.
It's possible, but you would think, Ali, I wouldn't think for a team that's in the thick of a division race, knowing that every game counts, would they be throwing him out there if he was hurt?
No.
Would they?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
If to your point, if there was something off, or they thought it's just fatigue, he's been pitching for so long, he's gone, I don't know, X amount of years. I think it's with the exception of the COVID year, I think it's 6 or 7 years in a row where he's made 32 starts. Absurd. Okay. Would they wait that long, or would they do it this way? They're always looking for extra arms, right?
Yeah.
So I lean more in the direction that if something was actually wrong and he was nursing something, they would have thrown him on the IL for 10, 15 days, said, here's your 10-day IL stint, here's your 15-day IL stint, and you're going to go through, and that's going to be your quote-unquote reset, and then we can at least, while in your absence, we're going to bring in another arm. Doesn't have to be a starter, right? Eric Lauer wanted to be a starter. They could have found a way to ensure Eric Lauer could have got a few more starts and Barrios gets a break. So I don't buy that at all, because I think they would have done it. If that's truly what was happening, that I believe would have been the corresponding move. He would have been on the IL for a little bit.
Well, and of course, Loperfido's also waiting in the wings there too. He was sent down earlier.
He was, yeah. He was an unfortunate sort of casualty of the roster crunch. And then, because they were able to pick up IKF off waivers, what happened? Joey Loperfido, who was presumed to be a September 1st call-up, right?
Yep.
He was just going to come right back a couple weeks after he got sent down. They basically said, we got to give you the old Heisman. We're really sorry, but, we're getting the opportunity to bring up IKF. We got him off waivers. We're going to roll with IKF instead of Joey Loperfido. So Joey Loperfido is going to finish his season in AAA. And all he did when he was on the big league roster, he hit. He was good. So it's really unfortunate from his standpoint because he did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. And I think what's also going to sting for him is not only did he do nothing wrong, but he didn't get another opportunity after that. So that's got to hurt, man, because he played well. He played well. And unfortunately, he's a victim of the roster crunch. And then ultimately what ended up happening with IKF. There's nothing you can control if you're Joey Loperfido from that perspective.
Not at all. And that's it. But I mean, and I was surprised they brought IKF back. I really was.
In what way? Why were you surprised?
Well, I don't know, because first of all, they let him go last year. I don't know how well he did last year with the team, but bringing him back, I don't know. I think Loperfido would have made more sense.
It's tough. I mean, I think the IKF edition, going back out and claiming him off waivers, picking him up for free, right? They traded him last year at the deadline. So they acquired an asset. And then they got him back this year for free. Good asset management, clearly.
Yeah.
I think the thing that we need to emphasize with that move is they are an organization that values versatility a ton.
Mm-hmm.
IKF, Miles Straw with his defense as another example. Ernie Clement playing everywhere. This is what they value. Even David Schneider that plays second and plays in the outfield, right? Like they like the dudes that can bounce around. Joey Loperfido, I think on merit, earned the opportunity to be a part of this. The problem is he's only playing the corner outfield. So they probably view it as it's easier to replace that than it is to replace a guy like IKF that can play across the diamond. He could play third. You need him to play short. He can play short. You need him at second. He can play second. Heck, he was even a catcher earlier in his major league career. And he had some quotes when he did join the Jays a couple weeks ago. He had some quotes about, I even told him, put me behind the plate. I have no issue. If you need me behind the plate, I'll go play behind the plate again. Because he's desperate to be a part of, a winning team, right? So this is a team that's, going to be in the playoffs, and he wants to be a part of that. Where I would actually agree with your assessment in terms of Loperfido, and I've been having this thought that's become a recurring thing for me in recent days, and certainly over the last week. I feel like the Blue Jays could really benefit from having another lefty bat option. And I think that's been most noticeable when they're going up against right-handed starters and they're essentially loading their lineup with all the lefties that they have, and they have no other guys in reserve. So here's Nathan Lucas hitting in the 2-hole. Here's Addison Barger. Here's Dalton Varsho, right? If I'm forgetting anybody, I apologize. Andres Jimenez. Like, we're throwing all the lefties in there, but they don't have any other options beyond that. And I kind of, from an offensive, if I'm off as somebody that really, wants to value offense, I would consider myself more offensive minded than the pitching or the defense. I really did think Joey Loperfido's bat became a really compelling option for them to lengthen their lineup and their bench. And I think they're missing that. I think they're missing an extra lefty bat. That would be the way I would frame it in terms of agreeing with your assessment.
Yes, from a versatility perspective, yeah, you're right that it makes sense to have IKF in there.
They value versatility. That's the idea. Mm-hmm. Like Ali, that's been evident with everything that they've done.
Yep.
In a weird way too.
Yeah.
The thing, so naturally, because the team has played well and they're in all likelihood headed to the postseason, barring something catastrophic here. Okay, even if it's not the division, they're gonna in a good position. Because of that, we haven't talked a lot about the front office, right? Last year when you and I spoke on a few different occasions, we talked a lot about Ross and Mark and the failures of the front office, the shortcomings,
Yep.
maybe the failure in terms of the overall vision of what they were trying to do. I think what's so funny is, people will say, we'll watch this team and we're painting them with the brush of, well, they're different. They did a good job adapting and they changed their mentality. And the truth is, no, I actually think this is like the most drastic representation of what the vision always was, right? They always talked about versatility. They always talked about leaning into the analytics. And there's no team right now. I mean, that's probably unfair. But when I watch the Jays and I watched their series against the Yankees, covering the games on Saturday and Sunday, you know what I saw all the time?
What's that?
I saw a very rigid commitment to the analytics. Every time there was a righty on the mound, they wanted a lefty in the box. Every time there was a righty at the plate for the Yankees, they wanted a righty on the mound. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
They didn't lean, they didn't deviate from that at all. And so I find it funny sometimes when I see, people talking about how their perspective has changed on the front office. It can change because they're winning, but this is actually the most ideal sort of deployment of a roster, I think, based on the vision of Ross in particular, of how they like to play baseball. A team that runs the bases well, a team that is versatile, a team that can hit righties and lefties, a team that doesn't rely on power, but they pass the baton, right? This is literally the MO of this team. It really is.
Yeah. See, and the other thing too, no, and some would say, oh, they did change their vision. No, they didn't. They stuck it through. Even now, I mean, look at some of the, look at some of the moves they made during this trade deadline. The main guy was Shane Bieber.
Yeah. And I think what also, this front office rightfully caught a lot of flack the last couple of years. The one thing I would say is when the Jays have been in a position under this regime, when they've been in a position to make the playoffs,
yeah,
the front office they've always gone out and have made a genuine effort at the trade deadline to try and upgrade the team in some way. They never avoided that. So in this case, it's Bieber, right? Bieber. It's a gamble. Yeah. The guy was coming off Tommy John. And I think in a way that kind of helped their case in terms of trying to acquire him, because if he wasn't coming off Tommy John, the reality is he's probably going to a different team or the Guardians aren't trading him, right? It's one of those two things. So they were aggressive. And when the Jays have been good, they've always been in that aggressive mindset. They've tried. They've always gone out and have supplemented the pitching, bullpen, starting rotation. Whenever they've been in a spot where this team has a chance to make the playoffs and hopefully obviously do damage, they haven't shied away from making those trades. They have not. 2 years ago, not that it was necessarily popular, but you might remember, I mean, they got one of the better relievers that was available at the time. It was Jordan Hicks. They ponied up and they got Jordan Hicks. They did it. Now, did they upgrade maybe enough in terms of the position player group? No, because Paul DeJong was the guy they went and got. And that was a last-minute thing to try and temporarily patch over Bo Bichette because he was hurt at the time. But from a pitching perspective, be it what they did with, in Taijuan Walker one year, what they did with Robbie Ray certainly, and how that they transformed him ultimately. This team has never shied away from trying to be aggressive. Barrios was a deadline acquisition.
And then there was Simeon back there too.
Absolutely. Like they've, when they think there's a window to compete, when they look at the team and see where they are in the standings, if they are in a playoff position, they haven't shied away from trying to make them better at the deadline. And they did that this year with Bieber. The bullpen is what it is. But even at the time, I remember sitting there on July 31st, they traded for Sir Anthony Dominguez, then they brought in Louis Varland. I thought that was enough. I thought they did well in terms of the acquisition cost. That was my opinion at the time. I think that there are concerns right now, and for obvious reasons. But in that moment, I didn't fault the front office at all. I thought they did a pretty decent job.
Sure. Yes, they did. Absolutely. And we should also we should mention a couple things. So, what do you feel of? Let's sort of talk a little bit about Bo Bichette's future here. Should he? Is it? Do you think is it fair? Like, is it a good idea to let him walk, or test the market, the free agent market, or just kind of, or should they just sign him now, extend him now?
I unfortunately, I don't think the latter is an option. I don't think there's an opportunity to sign him right now. And the reason being, we're just way too late in the game here. He's way too close to free agent status for him to sign a deal. It doesn't make any sense. And all the people in his camp, his agents, and whoever else he has in his camp, would advise him not to do it right now. That doesn't mean he's not going to stay a Blue Jay, right? But just from a business standpoint, it doesn't make sense. Would it be a good idea, a wise move for the Blue Jays to not pay him and let him walk and say, we don't want to invest that money in Bo Bichette. We'd rather disperse it elsewhere. I'm sorry,
I agree.
I don't know if I'm a little jaded when it comes to this, but in my opinion, there aren't a lot of Bo Bichettes from an offensive standpoint. There aren't a lot of Bo Bichettes walking around. Okay. There aren't a lot of pure hitters like him. I see the value in that player. Whatever you want to make and however you want to criticize the criticism that is perhaps there defensively, he's an offensive monster. The dude does it in the most unique way. My favorite thing about Bo this year, Ali, is he's become this unbelievably prolific cleanup hitter, right? And he's doing it without home run power. He's doing it without being a traditional big fly guy. He's got what is it, 18, 19 homers right now? Okay. He'll get to 20 as long as he's healthy and this little shin issue isn't serious. He'll get to 20, and that's great. That's a good number. But he's hitting cleanup. You know how many other guys? I had this stat. I don't think it's changed. He was when I last looked, he was one of 13 guys with 90 RBI this season. He was the only guy in that group that didn't have 20 homers. You know how hard that is to get to that number in terms of run production when you're not hitting homers? I think that's actually is a compliment to him as a hitter. And I don't think there are a lot of guys like that out there in baseball. And that's why I think he's immensely valuable. He's earned it. What I feel like ultimately happens here is he gets to market. He sees what he gets to canvas the landscape, see what's out there. And then I think the Blue Jays will have their opportunity to match or exceed it. I think the Jays, if they want him, I think the Jays can get a deal done. I don't think it's an issue of not getting a deal done because the Jays don't have enough resources. Like I don't buy. I think if they want him, they'll make it happen. And they will have the chance to make it happen. That's maybe the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly. And are you excited for the NHL season this year?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. How can we not be excited? You know, we got a few interesting stories here in Toronto. Selfishly, right? We got a Leafs team that's not going to have Mitch Marner.
Exactly. Yes.
That'll be different. That'll be interesting. You know, who steps up? What does the core truly look like right now? How do they replace or try to replace somebody of Mitch Marner's caliber, a 100-point player who does it in all phases of the game? That'll be interesting to follow. And then my number one favorite story right now, and I think we need to talk about it until this actually comes to an end. What's going to happen with Connor McDavid?
Yeah.
That's it. That's story number one. This is a generational talent. This is the best player in hockey. What's going to happen with Connor? So I'm very intrigued, particularly by that story. Like Connor is number one on my mind right now.
Yes. And we should give a shout out to Joe Bowen here, who's entering his last season behind the mic as the play-by-play voice of the Leafs.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Joe. So, legend, incredible legacy that he's going to leave. It's surreal that this is like we're a couple weeks away essentially from embarking on this journey where it's his final season.
Mm-hmm.
I know for you, for all tons of Leaf fans, hockey fans in general out there, my original inspiration for wanting to get in this field, believe it or not, was Joe Bowen. Growing up, and I must have been, Ellie, gosh, I must have been like 6 years old, 5 years old, as early as I can remember. I didn't come from my family. I didn't have family members that were big sports fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I discovered this passion for sports on my own. Like it developed very organically and naturally.
Honestly, for me too.
Okay, good. So we can relate on that. What I always remember is just flipping on the TV, and the two guys that did it for me, one was Joe Bowen because of the Leaf games all the time, and the second was always Bob Cole. And those two guys, they just made a mark, right? It made an imprint on me, and from that moment forward, from when I was very small, I always knew what I wanted to do. I always did, and so it's surreal that I've met Joe, I've seen Joe, being around him, and getting a sense to actually, to see what he's like and how he goes about his business in terms of calling games and whatnot. It's very surreal. It's very surreal that 20 years later from when I first started watching and listening to him, now I see him, and I've seen him in action, and get to see small peeks behind the curtain. It's so cool, and I give him all the credit and love in the world, because he's an icon, and I give him a lot. Obviously, for me, so much indebted just because of the level of inspiration I got from him.
I think for me, it would be him and Jerry Howarth.
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with Jerry. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I remember driving around as a kid on weekends when before you had data on your cell phone, before you could just pull up whatever you wanted and watch live on the fly, right?
Yeah.
I remember the only thing I could do to follow the Jays on weekends, riding around in my parents' car, with my mom or my dad, whatever, was I would be like, I'm gonna scroll through the channels, right, on the radio, and I'm gonna go to 590, and then it was Jerry's voice, and yeah, that was some very fond memories, man. Even with all those teams back in the day, which weren't very good. Reed Johnson, baby. Adam Lind. Those were the highlights.
John McDonald?
Yeah, right. Johnny Mack.
Yes.
Aaron Hill. Aaron Hill had some good days, too.
Vernon Wells?
Alex Rios.
Remember Sean Markham?
Of course. Sean Markham and Dustin McGowan. You remember
Dustin
McGowan?
Yep.
Yeah. But no, that's how I remember Jerry. And it was pretty cool. There have been a couple of instances over the years where I've had to call him for different reasons, and it's really surreal, when it's that's an iconic voice. It's you don't forget it. So yeah, totally, he's another one that does it for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's great to see everybody that's around doing it now too. Ben Schulman is good.
I think we got some really. We got a really good roster,
We
good
do.
arsenal. Ben's terrific.
He is.
Ben's such a God. He's such a natural, but he's also such a hard worker. He's got a great work ethic. And I, out of all our play-by-play talent or broadcast talent, he's the one I get to see most frequently, obviously.
Yeah.
And interact with, and he's really, really good, really sharp. So I have a lot of appreciation and respect for Ben. But man, yeah, across the board, you're right. What's crazy too?
Mm-hmm.
Just from let's use basketball, right?
Yeah.
Let's go to basketball for a second. Matt Devlin's, I don't know if he's got to be close to, he's approached, I know he's past 15. He's approaching 20 years calling Raptor games.
Wow.
And we just kind of take it for granted. We just, he's so synonymous with the team. Him, I know it's the competitor, but Jack Armstrong, legend.
Yep.
Here having for Sportsnet, having Matt and Alvin calling games.
Yep.
Is terrific. It's an absolute treat. Hockey goes without saying. Having Chris Cuthbert call games is unbelievable.
Eric Smith as well.
Right? I just we're very fortunate in that respect. We got a lot of really talented people.
Absolutely, we do. We do. And you know what? I'm looking forward to doing this with you again. I cannot wait.
Hey, my pleasure, man. I appreciate you being patient with me so we can make this one happen again. I always enjoy talking to you. I thank you for inviting me. I really do appreciate that. So, Ali, always my pleasure. I really do enjoy it, and I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, we can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, sounds good. I appreciate it. Thank you, man.
No problem.
Thank you so much for listening to and/or watching the Broadcast Map Show. To learn more about the show, please visit broadcastmap.ca. While you're there, subscribe to the newsletter so you never miss an update. Besides, it's free. Enter your email address and hit subscribe right on the homepage. The Broadcast Map Show is part of the Broadcast Map Network, where good conversations happen.
And we're just going to stop the recording here. If you can just stay here just a couple minutes.